Jen, it took the jury here at Swansea Crown Court around 15 minutes to find Whitelock guilty of Wendy Buckney's murder. But this isn't the first time he's killed. 24 years ago, he killed 2 men, including his own brother. And the families of his first 2 victims were in court today. And afterwards, they told us they opposed the parole board's decision to release him after serving 18 years of a life sentence. They said, "We knew he would kill again." They're now pressing the trial judge, Mr. Justice Griffiths, to impose a whole life tariff when he's sentenced here at Swansea Crown Court on December the 20th. Wendy Buckney said everyone deserves a second chance. She knew her neighbour Brian Whitelock had been released from prison. She offered him cash for odd jobs. Her kindness ended with her brutal and sadistic murder in August of 2022. He murdered the retired riding instructor, stabbing her with a kitchen knife, beating her with a chair leg and a piece of shelving. She was also sexually assaulted. A neighbour, Jeff Llewellyn, made the 999 call.
Can I have the police to 63B Carnacoy Road for possible murder, please?
What do you mean a possible murder?
Brian Whitlock, who I just reported missing, has come out of the girl's house and said he killed her.
Right, okay. What was the address again?
63B Carnacoy Road.
Carnacoy Road.
Get away, right? Stay away from me.
So, has he got any blood on him? What happened?
Covered in it.
He is covered in blood.
Wendy!
Whose house is it?
I think Brian described himself in the best way. He told us in his evidence that he was a monster. And knowing what I know about this case and in the way that Wendy suffered, I would say that is an apt description of him.
In the weeks and months before Miss Buckney's death, people living in Tanacoid Road in Clydach became increasingly concerned about Brian Whitelock's behaviour. Some knew he was a convicted murderer, and now he was living in their community. In the early hours of October 2000, fire crews were called to this house in Swansea. 2 bodies were later recovered. Nicky Morgan was a friend of Brian Whitelock. He'd been attacked with a hammer. Petrol was poured over his body and then set alight. Whitlock's brother Glenn was sleeping upstairs. A year later, Brian Whitelock was convicted of the manslaughter of his own brother and the murder of his friend Nicky. Today, Nicky's sister, Melanie Huxley, was in court to see Whitelock convicted for murder again. When you heard what had happened to Wendy Buckney, what went through your mind?
Told you so. Told you so. That's all we said. Told you we'd do it again. And just thought to the family, that family, knowing what they are now going to have to go through what we did the first time we did it.
So were Glenn Whitelock's family. They told me they knew he would kill again. These CCTV images show Wendy Buckney just hours before her life came to a brutal end. In a statement tonight, her family said Wendy was a much-loved sister and auntie whose kindness, laughter and spirit touched the lives of so many. It said, "Our lives will never be the same without her, but we will continue to honour her memory every day." This has been, without doubt, one of the most difficult and distressing trials I have ever covered. Difficult and distressing because of the nature of the injuries that this lady suffered. Difficult and distressing also because Brian Whitelock chose to defend himself. He sacked his barristers, he defended himself, and he spent much of the trial heckling the proceedings. At times, it was almost impossible to hear the prosecution barrister, Chris Rees-Casey. He was abusive to the court, abusive to the judge, abusive to the jury, and abusive to the memory of the woman that he killed. The families say they want a whole life tariff. They say he must never be allowed to be free again.
Okay, Colette, thank you very much.